All right, Jane, I've got to ask you, have you ever, in your entire life, heard of a place called Agatha? Specifically, Agatha the Mystic Places.
Agatha, the mystic place? I'm usually pretty good with these things, urban legends, hidden gems. But that one doesn't ring a bell. Is it a book, a movie, or are we talking about an actual, physical location?
That's the beauty of it, Jane. It's supposed to be a physical location, or at least, people claim it is. It's one of those whispered legends, passed down through certain circles, almost like a secret society, a place where the veil between worlds is thin, where strange things happen.
Okay, now you've piqued my interest. Veil between worlds is thin? That's pretty dramatic. So what's the lore? What's supposed to go down at this Agatha?
Well, from what I've gathered, it's a place of profound energy. Some say it's an ancient power nexus, perhaps a meteorite impact site millennia ago, or even a convergence of ley lines. The stories are wild. People claim to experience vivid visions, inexplicable healing, or a complete distortion of time. Some even say they've encountered entities, or seen impossible lights in the sky.
Wow. Impossible lights, entities, time distortion. That sounds less like a place and more like a sci-fi novel. But seriously, if it's so mystical and powerful, why isn't it, on the cover of National Geographic? Or swarming with tourists and researchers?
That's exactly it. It's incredibly difficult to find. The legend says it actively resists being found by those who aren't ready or meant to find it. It's shrouded in a natural cloak of mist, or shifting landscape. There are tales of people looking for it for years, only to stumble upon it by accident, or to have it disappear just as they approach.
So it's like a magical room of requirement for mystics? Only appears when you truly need it? That's quite a convenient explanation for why no one can pinpoint it on a map.
Exactly. But here's the kicker. The few accounts I've managed to dig up, they're oddly consistent in their descriptions of the place itself once they're there. They talk about ancient, non-Euclidean stone structures that seem to defy known architecture, plants that glow with an internal light, and a silence that isn't just an absence of sound, but almost a presence in itself.
Non-Euclidean, glowing plants. This is getting wild. Are these accounts from, shall we say, reliable sources? Or are we talking about people who spend a lot of time in fringe communities discussing alien abductions and Bigfoot?
It's a mix, honestly. Some are definitely from the fringe element, but others, there are a few academic types, naturalists, even a retired quantum physicist, who've obliquely referenced anomalous zones or regions of unexplained energetic phenomena that sound suspiciously like Agatha. They don't name it directly, but the descriptions align.
A retired quantum physicist? Okay, that adds a tiny bit of credibility, if only because quantum physics already sounds pretty mystical to me. So what's the practical upshot of visiting Agatha? Do you leave with superpowers? Or just a really intense headache and a story no one believes?
That's a great question. The benefits, if you can call them that, are highly individualized. Some talk about a profound sense of clarity, like all their life's questions were suddenly answered. Others claim physical ailments vanished. And then there are those who report an expansion of their sensory perception, seeing colors they've never seen, hearing frequencies beyond normal human range.
So, a spiritual awakening meets a health spa, with a side of psychedelic experience. Interesting. What about the risks? Because with great power, or great mystery, usually comes great weirdness or danger.
Absolutely. There are dark whispers too. Some never return from their quest. Others come back fundamentally changed, almost disconnected. They're said to lose their grasp on reality, or their memories become fragmented. It's not a place for the faint of heart, or for the unprepared.
That's intense. So it's not just a tourist trap, it could be a psychological trap, or even a physical one. This Agatha sounds less like a peaceful retreat and more like a cosmic gauntlet. Have you ever considered trying to find it?
Honestly, the thought crosses my mind more often than I'd like to admit. The idea of truly understanding something so utterly beyond our current scientific grasp is incredibly compelling. But the caution flags are waving pretty hard, I value my sanity, and my memory for that matter.
Yeah, I'd say. It's one thing to read about glowing plants and non-Euclidean architecture. It's another thing entirely to step into a place where your very perception of reality could be irrevocably altered. Is there any theory about its origin? Like who built these structures, if they exist?
That's a huge part of the mystery. The structures are described as being made of a material that doesn't seem to exist anywhere else on Earth, radiating a faint warmth or hum. Some theories suggest an ancient, lost civilization with technology far beyond our own. Others lean into the extraterrestrial explanation, a landing site, a power station left behind.
Extraterrestrial. I mean, at this point, why not? If you're going to have time distortion and glowing plants, alien architects aren't that big of a leap. So, is there a consensus on where it's supposed to be? A continent? A general region?
The most consistent accounts place it in a remote, mountainous region, often associated with dense, ancient forests. Think somewhere in the Himalayas, or perhaps the uncharted parts of the Amazon, or even the Siberian wilderness, places where modern civilization hasn't fully permeated. The idea is that its inaccessibility is part of its defense mechanism.
Makes sense. If it's truly a place of such profound power, it would naturally gravitate towards seclusion, away from the hustle and bustle. Imagine trying to meditate on universal truths while a tour bus full of selfie takers rolls by. Kind of ruins the vibe.
Exactly. The tranquility is said to be absolute, almost oppressive, and within that silence, people report hearing their own thoughts amplified, or strange, nonverbal communications, almost telepathic in nature. It's like the place itself is trying to communicate.
Okay, that's a whole other level. So the place is not just affecting you, it's actively interacting with you. Is there a purpose behind this interaction? Does it want something from visitors? Or is it just existing and we're just along for the ride?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Some believe it's a kind of cosmic library, a repository of ancient knowledge meant to be accessed by those deemed worthy. Others think it's a natural phenomenon, like a highly localized singularity, and the effects are merely a byproduct of its existence. There's no clear motive assigned to it.
A cosmic library. That's a beautiful thought. It's almost comforting to think that somewhere out there's a place holding all the answers, even if they come with a risk of losing your mind. But if it's a library, how do you read it? Do the ancient structures act as a kind of interface?
That's a common theory. The structures aren't just decorative, they're thought to be conduits, or perhaps even a form of ancient technology. People describe touching them and experiencing rushes of information, flashes of history, or a profound connection to something vast and eternal.
So, you touch a rock and suddenly you're downloading ancient universal truths? That's definitely more efficient than Google. But it also sounds like a lot to process for a human brain. No wonder some people come back disconnected.
Exactly. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose. The sheer volume of information, or the intensity of the energetic input, could easily overwhelm a person. It's less about learning specific facts and more about an experiential, visceral understanding of reality.
It makes you wonder then, if the readiness to find Agatha isn't just about intention, but about a certain mental fortitude or a unique neurological makeup. Maybe some people are just better equipped to handle that kind of sensory and intellectual overload.
That's a very insightful point, Jane. Perhaps it's a filtering mechanism, ensuring only those who can integrate the experience without breaking are allowed to fully engage. It's almost like a natural selection process for spiritual evolution, if you will.
A natural selection for mystics. I like that. So what about the light phenomena you mentioned earlier? Are we talking about auroras or something stranger?
Much stranger than auroras. Descriptions vary, but they often involve shifting colors, patterns that defy logic, and light sources that seem to originate from nowhere, sometimes even appearing to respond to thought or emotion. Some have called them living lights.
Living lights. So the atmosphere itself is alive, or responsive. This is less mystic place and more sentient environment. Are there any historical texts or ancient prophecies that allude to Agatha, beyond just whispers?
That's a bit harder to pin down directly. Many ancient cultures have myths of sacred lands or gateways to the divine. It's possible that Agatha is the original source, or one of many, that inspired these universal archetypes. But a specific map or scroll mentioning Agatha the mystic place by name? Not that I've found.
So it remains firmly in the realm of legend and personal testimony, which in a way makes it even more compelling. The lack of concrete proof almost strengthens the mystique, because it requires an act of faith, or at least a suspension of disbelief, to even consider its existence.
Exactly. And that's what draws people. In a world increasingly mapped and understood, the idea that there's still a place of profound, unexplained mystery, a true frontier of consciousness, is incredibly appealing. It taps into something primal within us, I think.
It definitely does. The yearning for the unknown, the desire to experience something truly extraordinary and perhaps even transformative, it's a powerful draw. So, if you were to encounter someone who claimed they'd been to Agatha, what would you ask them first?
That's a good one. I think I'd bypass the "what did you see" and go straight for "how did it feel, what did it change within you," because the account suggests it's less about visual spectacle and more about internal transformation.
That's smart. Get to the core of the experience. And then, I'd probably follow up with, and do you ever feel the urge to go back? Because if it's as profound as you say, I imagine it leaves an indelible mark.
I bet it does. Most who claim to have found it never speak of it again, or only in veiled terms. It's almost as if the experience is so sacred, or so personal, that it defies articulation, or perhaps the secrecy is a protective measure, both for themselves and for the place itself.
A protective measure. That aligns with the actively resist being found aspect? It's guarding itself, and maybe guarding those who are privileged enough to find it from the dangers of the mundane world. It's a fascinating concept, DONFELIXX. Agatha, the mystic place, whether real or purely mythological, it certainly sparks the imagination.
It truly does, and perhaps that's its true power, Jane, to remind us that there's still so much we don't know, so much left to wonder about in this vast, incredible universe. A little mystery is good for the soul, don't you think?
Absolutely. A little mystery keeps us humble, and keeps us dreaming. And who knows, maybe one day, just maybe, someone listening right now will stumble upon a glowing plant or a non-Euclidean structure, and realize they've found Agatha. Until then, we'll keep wondering.
Indeed we will. A fantastic thought to end on. Thanks for delving into the enigma with me, Jane.
My pleasure, DONFELIXX. Always a thrill to explore the impossible with you.